Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I know, I'm sorry I didn't get it to you yesterday. I don't know about you guys, but after holiday, there's just a reestablishment of routines and getting caught up. And so, just in the process of doing that. So, regardless, here we are. It's a beautiful day here. So I hope you guys are somewhere where there's just as beautiful weather. And diving in. Now, I feel responsible to do a bit of a disclaimer on this one because what we're going to talk about today, I am not great at. And so I feel like this is a bit of a talk just for myself and a reminder as it is for you guys. But I feel responsible to tell you that because if I'm going to be talking about something almost with a bit of I guess, an authority, if you will, that usually I try to focus on things that at least I've experienced and I feel confident in, whereas this is something that, I mean, my friends would be laughing because I am terrible at this. So diving right into it. So I want to talk to you guys about the importance of letting certain relationships die. Oh my gosh, guys. I am somebody who I'm super loyal and I will like beat a dead horse, nonstop to try to bring it back to life, so to speak. Like I am that person 100%. But the reality is that not every relationship is meant to be forever. And I mean, of course, a lot of us, I would argue probably most of us have heard that, you have relationships and people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I think that that's a very hard thing to embrace. And thinking of it from a spiritual kind of side of things, everything has a natural cycle of life and death, okay? And we think about this oftentimes in terms of our physical death, right? We're alive and then we die. And then we think about it in nature of the cycles and the cyclical nature of coming, winter and spring and summer and just that life-death cycle in that specific arena. But when it comes to ourselves and the more emotional sphere, I think a lot of us resist this natural cycle. It's hard to embrace it. It's hard to accept it, to be honest. But the reality is that that cycle applies to absolutely everything, including emotions, including relationships, even including, ideas we have about what we want for ourselves. I mean, it is part of life. It's part of our growth. I mean, you can think about it with nature and how, things need to die to be regrown, and that's just things need to decompose to create nutrients to support other life. Like it's just a process that applies to everything. And so with relationships, sometimes, guys, the relationship, you need to let it die. Okay. And I think oftentimes this will, if we refuse to accept this process, this is when we get really unhealthy relationships, and illness. And obviously there's boundaries and all that kind of dynamics that we play into. But I'm talking specifically about when you've had a really great friendship and then things have changed in life and you guys just don't have that same connection anymore. And really the best thing would be to part ways, be grateful for what you did have and move on, and it is a really important thing to do because what happens when we don't is we're resisting that death cycle. And if you think about in movies, when they bring back somebody who died, but then they're just really, they're unhappy and they can't really be present in this world because of the fact that they're not supposed to be here anymore. I think that is really true with what happens with our relationships. We essentially start creating these shells of that friendship or these zombies, and it becomes unhealthy. And so there's a very important thing that we need to accept. When a relationship is ready to be done, let it go. Okay. And this is especially true for romantic relationships. I think every single person probably has an experience of a relationship they should have ended a long time before they did. It's painful, guys. It's super hard. And the other thing I want to say with this real quick is that it's a death cycle. It's a life death cycle. And with anything, when it comes to death, there is a grief process. And I think oftentimes we exclusively hold grief for just when there's a physical death, but there is often, and I would argue probably always, a process of grief that happens when an idea or an emotional death happens, let's say an emotional death. And so allow yourself to grieve it, allow yourself to go through the same grief process. Don't judge yourself for it. Don't put a timeline, just experience it. And like I said, let those relationships die when they need to die, because you'll find new life is born with other people, with other relationships. And maybe, in the future, there'll be a new life cycle with that same person. You just never know. But at the time and at the current moment, maybe you need to let it die in order for a new life, so to speak, to occur. So with that, guys, Hope you're having a great week, and can't wait until next week to talk again. And like always, please subscribe. I always forget, but we're 2 in a row, so we're doing well. So don't forget, click. I guess I'm fumbling today. Click the subscribe button, and then of course every week we will be chatting. So hope you have a great one.